Hey guys, John Castanino here again between the benches. Boy, you guys are getting a great vantage point. We're ice level here at T-Mobile Arena, and let me show you really the savior of this game. Hold on, hold on. He's sitting right in front of you with the hat on. I don't know if you can see him. I think that's his wife right there holding up the phone to him. That would be Marc-Andre Fleury, and here's Matt Gutierrez joining us. We're going to bring Matty on, Matt, and we'll give you a view. You'll see a split screen. Hey, Matt.
Yo,
Yeah, you're looking at the man that saved this game. Um, I, I'm telling you, I have seen a lot of live sports in my lifetime, and there's no question what he did in the third period was one of the greatest performances in any sport that I've ever seen at any time. And that's not hyperbole, Matt. That really is. It was something to behold to watch him
no, it was
live and
incredible.
in person save this game for the Golden Knights. It was just unreal.
He was amazing in that third period, and he kept them in the game. He's not necessarily the reason they won the game. He's the reason they stayed in the game. You can't discredit those first two periods. The Knights were amazing in the first two periods and really forced tempo. But without Flurry playing the way he played, and they probably don't hang on and win that game.
No, I lost you for a second. Are you losing me? How's the signal holding up here? I hope it's not
No,
falling apart.
I got you.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I
you were
got
cutting
you.
out a little bit. Maybe it's a little shoddy, the Wi-Fi here on ice level. So again, on the left, Marc-Andre Fleury. On your right, that's Matt Gutierrez. Boy, I'll tell you what, you're the Marc-Andre Fleury of the Sports Adrenaline team, Matt. You always save us. Um, so the
Yeah.
Golden Knights come out. All right, I'll put my ugly mug. Whoa, that's a little bit too close. So the Golden Knights score within 30 seconds, Matt. And I don't even know what happened, but really that first period was complete dominance by the Golden Knights. And we saw it. And I
Yeah.
said, repeatedly, the Jets look slow, but it really was stifling defense from the Golden Knights. It was absolutely phenomenal. That was probably the best 20 minutes I've seen. And you can make the argument one of the best periods they played all playoffs long or even all season long, just the way that they were able to stifle Winnipeg. But you get on the board like that, this crowd got into it. And I'll tell you again, Matt, loudest crowd I heard, it seems like they just keep on topping themselves. It seems like this crowd missed this team, hadn't been here for a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
Vegas came
Been a
out and
while.
set the tone early, especially defensively. But what'd you like about that first period, besides the obvious they scored within 30
On
seconds?
Well, yeah, it was more of what we saw from game two. They carried that over into that first period, and Marchessault shot out of a cannon on that play. Great play by Braden McNabb to get a stick on it just as it crossed the blue line into Winnipeg zone. Got a stick on it and just flicked it back the other way, and somehow Marchessault beat two Jets to the puck, and then put another amazing move on Hellebuck and went with the backhand for a third time now in the last two games. Beat Hellebuck with that backhand. But crowd, of course, amazing. We knew that was going to happen, and pregame show. I mean, how do you beat that? And Golden Knight cutting the jet in half, and the explosion, and the arena goes red. And I mean, that production teams, they've got this thing down to a science, and they're doing a great job getting this crowd ready for every game. Little disappointed on the television broadcast; they didn't show the anthems.
Oh,
We saw it
really?
twice in Winnipeg. We didn't get to see it on
Really?
the home
That's
telecast. I was looking
interesting
forward to
because
the Knights chant. Obviously, you follow Twitter; it's all over the place. But yeah, we missed it.
so Golden Pipe sang both of them, and you're breaking up on my end, so I might be. Oh, yeah. I'm jumping in on you here. Sorry again. Your audio is coming in a little shoddy. So I haven't had this problem on the bench before. The Wi-Fi shoddy here between the benches, but Golden Pipe singing both
Yeah, I think it's
anthems.
your end, man. You're
And
coming in pretty clear.
okay, he was he was great. He was getting choked up before the Star Spangled Banner. It was quite moving, and there was a huge roar of applause. So he sings "Oh Canada," and the Canadians that we had out here, they sang their part and sang the anthem, the Canadian anthem. But then it's paused for a little bit, and then the crowd got really loud, and it was kind of like Carnell recognized the crowd for cheering for him, and maybe you know that whole Carrie Underwood thing, and he was feeling the love from Vegas because a lot of people stood up for him in that
You know how
scenario.
I feel about that.
I was not one of them. I know you were, but he felt something. He got a little choked up, but the anthem was great, especially starting off with the screams and the yells. So getting back to the game, second period, right, you felt like Vegas was absolutely running him out of the building or running him off the ice, as you said. Vegas dominant in period 2, everybody feeling pretty comfortable, and then period 3, I mean, you blink and it's 3-2, and it's a hockey game again, and the seats that your hands kind of clench, the seats a little bit tighter, you're sitting a little bit more rigid in those seats. I mean, things tensed up, and the nervous energy was apparent, and there was, I mean, for sure, again, the Golden Knights, as you said, they had to build that lead, but I mean, there was just a stretch of 10 minutes there where this team could not do anything against Winnipeg, and they had to hold on for dear life. So it was pretty harrowing moments in period 3.
No, we felt it at home too. I mean, that was nerve-wracking time right there. But I mean, you go back to the second period, how they built that lead. They give up the goal to Winnipeg, and another weird goal that Fleury, he only allowed one in the second game. He allowed one in that period in the second game, or in the second period today, and another just awkward goal off of a weird angle that just kind of sneaks by him. But the response, I mean, 12 seconds later, James Neal, and then within 2 minutes from that goal, you get another one. Neal again with the great pass to Alex Tuch, and all of a sudden it's 3-1 after it looked like all the momentum had shifted back to Winnipeg. Again, third period, they were able to stave off that crazy rush that Winnipeg had. I think the Knights went 12 minutes or so without a shot on goal. What really impressed me, though, you knew Hellebuck was going to be coming out of the net pretty soon. There was about 2:35 to go in the game, and the Knights just flipped it. They stopped playing defensive, stopped playing on their heels and being passive, and all of a sudden they turned all the pressure around, like they knew that they needed to keep Hellebuck in net. And it was an amazing stretch by them, and only for a few seconds was he out of net, and it turned into Marchessault again just beating everybody down the ice and getting the empty net goal. But they really turned it around in that last 2.5 minutes to seal the deal.
Yeah, and you're jogging my memory just about what the fourth line did, Maddie. And I know how much you love when we talk about Ryan Reeves. But really, I was just, the shifts that this fourth line is putting on. And granted, they're not getting any shots on net. I think Nozick had a couple opportunities. And there was a point where Nozick was running with Neal, I think it was. Gerard Gallant was switching up the lines a little bit in that stretch in the third period. But the fourth line just kept on dumping the puck deep in the Winnipeg zone. It was really impressive, and I think they had a possession like that right before Hellebuck had to come out of the game. I mean, they were just diving it deep. It was really, really something to behold, and really, I think you point to the fourth line as the MVP line, or you can point to that guy as the MVP, that's for sure. But that was, again, something that really impressed me. I mean, the defense in the first period was extremely impressive to me. And what the fourth line did, outside of what Marc-Andre did, clearly was two big things. Marc-Andre talking about the tickle. I'm sure if you watched the press conference after the game, I don't know if they aired that live, but I was there. That was really great, and I was trying to be heard there. I said really loud, "The video caught you." There's video of it, Marc-Andre. So, there was video of him doing a little tickle on Wheeler, and he didn't admit to anything. So that was really fun. And then James Neal in that press conference, again, you probably heard, but he opened it up with, "Hey, do you want to talk about your own saves first?" So those two saves that he made in that third period was just unreal, Matt. And I just can't say enough about just how cat-like he really was in there. I mean, I haven't watched much of Marc-Andre. Clearly, I'm familiar with him, and his history with Pittsburgh, but I hadn't really paid attention and watched maybe a full 60-minute game with him in net. But there's no way that this guy could have been better than what he's been with the Golden Knights. I mean, if he was, how does Pittsburgh let this guy go, right? I think we're seeing a legendary, one of the all-time greats here in this inaugural season. And I know it goes without saying, but this team would be nowhere. You think about it, they probably would have lost this game tonight if it wasn't for this guy. It was just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to be out there with a red cape with an S on it. I mean, he's been phenomenal. And I mean, he flew across. That second save he made was just incredible, where he got over to the right, nice pad save, and then came back across and dove and somehow got his shoulder on that puck. It was incredible. He's playing phenomenal hockey. And you can sense that he wants this more than he's maybe wanted any
Yeah.
cup in his career. He's got 3 rings. The first one all him, the next 2 kind of back and forth between him and Murray. But I think he wants this one more than he's ever wanted one, and he's playing like that. He's playing the best hockey of his life right now, and the Knights are reaping the benefits.
Yeah, sorry, I was on the wrong screen, so I wasn't seeing the comments here, and now they're all scrolling across the screen really quick. I'm just going through them. Scott, Gulbranson, Eakin was a monster tonight. Yeah, the second line was phenomenal, as they've been. Again, a lot of great performances here. Tiffany says we can hear you two just fine. Okay, great. Sorry, I'm scrolling here. Charmaine Moreland, when you said that the Jets and Predators play a higher level of hockey, yeah, I know, right? It's just, this
I
team.
think I said that they had been playing versus higher level of competition.
What?
I think the Knights are every bit as good, but I thought that the road was a bit tougher for those 2 teams coming into this final, going against not necessarily Colorado, the Avalanche, but the Wild gave the Knights fits
Right.
all season, and then obviously those 2 teams, the 2 top point scorers in the West this season. So I don't think that they're necessarily a higher level of team. I just thought they had played a higher level of competition to this point.
Yeah, look, we got
this point in the playoffs
fans
anyway.
calling you out, putting Maddie on blast. I like it.
That's all
Yeah,
right. That's all
actually,
right. Call me out. Let's go.
Tony Cordasco deserves being put on blast for pretty much anything he says.
Every night.
Just trying to jog my memory on what the guy said in the locker room. Asked Jonathan Marchessault show just about that early goal in the third period. And I said, I mean, you give up that early goal, you're kind of stung a little bit, and it seemed like you had to hang on for dear life in the third period. And they were upset, genuinely upset about that goal and the way that they played for half of that third period. I mean, Marshy said, no excuses here. We should have been ready for that, and we weren't ready for that, and that's something that we need to fix. Same thing with Gallant. He said he knows that this team should be playing a lot better, especially to close out a game. And he said he was very confident.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to fix that. So still, even the attitude with this team taking a 2-1 series lead with another game at home coming on Friday, these guys are hungry to continue to improve. And that's really the sign of a championship team. We've been talking about it over and over and over again, but this team doesn't sit back on their laurels at all. It's not that they try to go out and prove to the rest of the league that they're a great team. It's just that they know that they have got to get back to work, especially against the Jets team. And I called this on the show yesterday, on Tuesday. I knew that the Knights were going to win Game 3. I just knew it. I didn't bet it. I should have bet it, but I knew they were going to win. I think Game 4 is going to be an absolute slugfest back here Friday night.
I don't know if you got to watch any of Gallant's presser this morning. We were at practice, and there was a reporter there from Montreal, and he asked specifically about Marchessault and talked about the attitude that he carries, and more or less he was saying the little man syndrome, and whether or not it's easier to handle that kind of whether or not it's easier to handle that kind of attitude with a group of veterans coming in where they can put him in his place, or a new team where he's kind of allowed to do what he wants to do. And Gallant right away said, no, the locker room loves Marchessault. That the attitude that he has, he's just a little guy jumping around, but guys love him and he's having a good time. And Marchessault, after Game 1, came out and said, listen, people don't think we're good enough. We need to go out and prove to people that we are good enough to do this. And you look at the performance he had in Game 2, just, amazing with the 2 goals. And then he comes out 35 seconds in today with the goal and then scores at the end of the game, which I don't know did you mention that stat? First player in NHL history to score a goal in the first 60 seconds of a playoff game and the last 60 seconds of a playoff game. Just amazing. 4 goals in the last 2 games now, and he's backing up his words. And I think this team does have a little chip on their shoulder when it comes to national media and the quote-unquote hockey purists that are a little irritated about the fact that this upstart Vegas team in the middle of the desert is out here doing things that teams, like Toronto, haven't done in the last 20 or 30 years. I think they want to go out and prove everybody wrong that they are good hockey players and this is a good team and they're not a fluke. They're not a Cinderella. They're a legit cup contender. And say it with me, John, they're 2 wins away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Pretty nuts, man. Again, I think that I saw the stat. This is not verified, but if you go up 2-1, you've got an 80% chance of winning the series. That might be off. I don't know. Somebody tweeted that. But then if you go up 3-1, it's a 91% chance. So clearly, again, you have another, and while it may not be an insanely critical game, if the Golden Knights can pull out a win here on Friday, which is going to be really tough to do, but they'll have clear command of this series, and you're talking about going back to Winnipeg with an amazing 2-game advantage. About the fight after the game, that could have escalated really quickly. You think about the game ending, and maybe you get a little too chippy, and you're talking about, I don't know exactly what the NHL does, but possible suspensions or misconducts or whatever it is. If that gets a little too crazy. Lucas Spiza was talking about that in the locker room afterwards, and I posted this on my Twitter feed. But he was saying that the Jets didn't like something on that faceoff with 2 seconds to go, and that's kind of where it started, and pushing and shoving ensued. And we're just lucky that, didn't escalate more than what it was. I was watching the benches. The benches didn't move. Clearly they were like, whoa, game over. We're not coming out, and we don't want to get penalized for anything here. So that was interesting. I'm just trying to recall anything else significant that Gallant said, but
I'm curious about what kind of carryover that fight will have into Game 4. How many times have you seen the whistle blow, puck drop, and guys throw gloves down right away and start going at it? They were pretty chippy throughout the course of that game. A lot of frustration boiling over by both teams. I wouldn't be surprised to see any kind of carryover into that first period. The big question is which team comes out more, I don't want to say motivated. Both teams are motivated to win, but it feels like when one of these two teams really wants to impose their will and their style of play on the other team, they're able to do that. For 2+ periods in Game 1, it was the Jets that did it, and then for the next 5 periods, it was the Knights that did it, and then in the third period tonight, it was the Jets that came back and did it. So, what do we get out of Game 4 now? Being at home obviously helps, but these are two really evenly matched teams, two really talented teams, both playing great hockey right now. So it's going to be interesting to watch the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first period on Friday night.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And when you think about it, I mean, you're right. It seems like a team can switch it on and dominate a period, when they really want to. Kind of harkens back to the Predators series with Winnipeg, except I think the X factor here is that we don't, Vegas doesn't have Pekka Rinne in net, and the inconsistency from him, Marc-Andre Fleury is in net, and this guy play consistently, and it's the best hockey of his life. Going back, I was in my mind. Oh yeah, James Neal talking about the elbow to the head from Dustin Byfuglien had to be brought off, and this was a phone call from somebody upstairs in the NHL booth that's upstairs on the press level that we're at. They had to call down and basically pull him off the ice. So it was the NHL that made the call to bring him back to go through the concussion testing protocol. So it wasn't that James wanted to come out and said he was forced off the ice, which is, part of precaution. And he had to go, he said, through the testing that the league has, and he passed that just fine. So that's why he missed that chunk of time there in that period when
he took an elbow from a 265-pound 6'7" man. I mean, you don't have to get a concussion to feel that and need a couple of minutes to clear your head. I mean, that's a big blow from a big man. So, and he admitted, it was the right move to pull him off the ice and to check him out. I mean, safety first. They don't need concussions. We've seen it so much with the NFL now. It's about keeping these guys healthy going forward, not necessarily in the moment, but for their future. And, this head trauma is a big deal.
Tony mentioned face-offs on Twitter. Tony Cordasco, our face-off guru. Golden Knights win 9 out of the first 10 face-offs in that dominant first period of theirs as well. I'm John. That's Maddie. Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas. If you're new to what we're doing, we do these a lot on ice level here at T-Mobile Arena. I'm actually where Pierre Maguire or whoever it is that does the third man in the booth. I'm between the benches, behind the bench, between the benches, whatever they call it. But I'm here. If you're new to our page, please give us a like. We appreciate it, and we enjoy doing this. We've been at it for 2 years now, Matt. So really fun. Any final thoughts from you before I maybe do my infamous tour of the Golden Knights bench? So stay tuned for that. Anything else from you?
Yeah. So I was thinking about it. They played the Jets 3 times in the regular season. So 3 games, they went 2-1. They played the Jets now 3 times in the playoffs. They're 2-1. They go 2-1 over the next 3 games, John, and they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Keep this rolling.
Yeah, unreal, man, unreal. Marc-Andre, and I'll leave it with this, and you heard it, but if you watched the post-game show, you also heard it. If somebody had asked them, again, and it's the typical reporter question, if somebody told you were going to be in this position 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup final at the start of the year, what would you have said? And Marc-Andre said he would have laughed a little bit and admitted it, but he pointed out something good, is that, nobody in the media room, and certainly I don't think, besides the team, there really was nobody that thought that this team would make it to the point that they made it. And they're just shocking people, and you're seeing a lot of national media members, as you said, backtracking and trying to kind of cover their tracks. And they played the video in the pregame introduction, pregame ceremonies again about, the Drew Doughty soundbite and about all these soundbites about, Vegas is going to be the doormat team of the NHL. Really got the crowd fired up. So you're just seeing people backtrack everywhere. And it's good. It's good for us local guys to see.
And you know what, John? I've tried to refrain from asking those types of questions at practice in the locker room because it's beyond that now, right? I mean, I know national media coming in, they haven't been able to talk to these guys on a day-to-day basis, and they want to get a feel for the newness of all of this and the unlikelihood of all of this. But for us, we've been around it for so long. We've been with this team the whole season. I don't think we need to ask those questions anymore because they don't feel like an expansion team. We're now 90+ games into the season, counting all the postseason games. They don't care about expansion and where I was last year and all of that. They're trying to win a Stanley Cup, and they're Vegas Golden Knights. That's who they play for. That's who they represent, and they want to go out and raise that cup. I think they're beyond all of that other stuff. But again, national media hasn't been around them. They really want to, hype up the newness of the whole thing.
Yeah, interesting point. All right, so as is usual when I do these things, Maddie, and again, you guys just joining us, you're not getting this from anybody else.
Find some bubble gum.
You're not getting this anywhere else. All right, so let's take a tour of the bench. Hold on. And here we go, split screen. All right, so between the benches, here you have the Winnipeg bench here, sponsored by Booster Juice, which I've never heard before. The Winnipeg Jets bench, really clean. There's not much going on here at all. We've got the NBC box here. So again, this is where, you've got monitor here for the NBC third reporter. You've got a monitor here, looks like. We've got some notes down here. Again, I don't know who was calling the game, but maybe I can cheat a little bit and sound smarter than what I am with Pierre Maguire's notes. Something circled for Derek England. I don't know what the big key was with England, but okay, he had a good game. All right, so we make our...
Part of that fight at the end. He was one of the instigators.
Okay, here we go, making our way now to the Golden Knights bench, and a lot of clutter on this side. So I'm assuming this is where the trainers are at. So we've got a lot of... this is new stuff here. I don't know what it is. So let's see here. This is some... What is this? Yeah, Gatorade Gator Lights. Haven't heard of that. Electrolyte powder. So clearly that's going in the drinks here. Again, I hope I'm not finding anything illegal. Everything's clean here on the bench. Here's something. What is this? BioSteel? Not sure what that is. So we've got a couple new things. A little bit of tape back here. The typical lip balm that you might see. And I pointed this out before. Again, a lot of ladies out there would probably swoon if I swiped that and threw it on eBay. It doesn't look like much of anything.
Get a couple bucks, man.
Anything that interesting. I mean, we do have Alex Tuck's Gatorade bottle. We have
That'll go for some money, John. You might want to swipe that.
I'm really tempted. Here's Marshy's, and here's Bill Carlson.
Oh, that's the one right there, man.
There's 40. I know, this is really great. And then my fellow media members that are back here are just looking at me like I'm a nut job, but that's okay. Yeah, John Treach is like, who is this clown, and how do I know him? That's okay.
Hey, there's our boy Ron again.
There's Ronnie.
Tell Ron I say hello.
Matt Gutierrez says hello.
Matt, what's up? How's the Bay Area?
How's the Bay Area? I don't know what he's talking about.
Where's he at?
Yeah, he's here in Vegas. What are you talking about?
He's thinking Paul Gutierrez.
You're thinking Paul Gutierrez, yeah.
He's thinking Paul Gutierrez.
I thought he took off the... Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
18.
Are you going to drink it? Yeah, it's at 18. James Neal. Yeah, but I love it. So KLAS Channel 8,
how are you?
8 Sports Now. What's coming up on the live shot, John? Let's go to John. What's coming up on the live shot here tonight at 11?
We went really deep into the Jets locker room and got some asked the penetrating questions. and they gave us absolutely nothing, really.
Yeah.
So, it's, believe it or not, it's one game at a time, and their backs aren't against the wall because they're a good team too.
Yeah, they are a good team too. And all right. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. Game 4 prediction. The Game 4 is going to be a really tough game to win for the Golden Knights.
I think it's going to be brutal because if the Jets don't act like the Stanley Cup is on the line, the series is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. If you're up 3-1, it's a 90% chance you're not going to win the series. So, all right, the cleanup crew is here, Maddie. I suppose that we should go, even though, there's a lot of people on here. Again, like our page if you have not liked it before. We'll see what the practice time is for tomorrow. They may have already announced it already, but if we can make it out there, we'll be there. But for sure, I'll be back here Friday. So,
yeah, I'll be there for sure tomorrow.
Anything else you want to throw in? Ooh, the lighting's better over here.
No, just there you go. Look at you, beard and all, man, looking good. Like tonight, the Knights need to come out in Game 4 with that same kind of intensity and really just jump on every loose puck. The forechecking was phenomenal the first 2 periods. They need to get after that again and just put the Jets back on their heels. That instant pressure they had early in the game is what dictates their pace of play. If they can do that, if they can jump out early, they play great with a lead. Again, they let them back in the game, but they held them off. They were able to keep that lead despite the crazy push that Winnipeg had. So jump on them early again and hold that lead and ride Fleury to the end and go back to Winnipeg with a 3-1 lead.
Great point, Matt. All right, you share it. I'm going to sign off and head on home. If you're catching us late, just watch the replay when I stop this right now. We'll see you at the next game.